Okay, I would like to thank everyone for coming out tonight and welcome you to the public hearing for the Town of Webb Local Law Blank of 2023, amending the zoning ordinance of the Town of Webb to allow marina as a conditional use in subdistrict CB-5. I would now like to call the public hearing to order. Nancy, will you please read the notice of public hearing?
Whereas the New York State town allows town boards in New York to regulate the use of buildings, structures, and land within the town through zoning ordinances or local laws. Whereas the town board may amend the existing provisions of the zoning ordinance. And whereas proposed local law number blank of 2023 has been prepared, which would amend the zoning ordinance of the town of Webb by adding marina as a permitted conditional use in zoning subdistrict CB-5. And whereas, under New York State town law, no local law may be passed until a public hearing has been held. Now, therefore, it be resolved that the Webb Town Board shall meet and hold a public hearing at the Town Visitor Information Center, 3140 State Route 28, Old Forge, at 7 p.m. on Tuesday, January 10th, 2023, to consider proposed local law number blank of 2023. Permitting marina as a conditional use in the CB-5 zoning subdistrict, and to hear all interested parties, and at that time may take any actions authorized by law concerning the proposed local law, and be it further resolved that the town board authorizes and directs the Webb town clerk to publish and post a notice of public hearing concerning the proposed local law. That's it.
Okay. The purpose of this hearing is to amend the zoning ordinance of the Town of Webb to allow marina as a conditional use in subdistrict CB-5. Nancy, would you read the law, please?
Amending the zoning ordinance of the town of Webb to allow marina as a conditional use in subdistrict CB-5. Section 1, legislative intent. It is the intent of this local law to amend the town zoning ordinance. Presently, the ordinance does not allow use of any property within zoning subdistrict CB-5 as a marina. The town board finds that allowing such a use within the sub-district conditioned upon approval by the planning board will be consistent with the town's comprehensive plan and serve the interests of the residents of and visitors to the town. Section 2, authority. This local law is adopted pursuant to New York State Town Law, Section 261, which expressly authorizes the town board to regulate and redistrict the use of the buildings, structures, land within the town, in Section 480-41 of the zoning ordinance that provides for amendment of the ordinance. Section 3, allowing marina as a conditional use within zoning subdistrict CB-5. The town board hereby provides the marina is permitted conditionally use in zoning subdistrict CB-5, and the text of the zoning ordinance of the town of Webb shall so provide, and that Chapter 480, Attachment 1, shall be amended to reflect the use by adding an X in the column for subdistrict CB-5 on the line labeled marina. The text of the amendment enacted herein is shown as Schedule A here too. Section 4, effective date. This local law shall take effect 10 days after publication of the summary hereof in the Adirondack Express and upon filing with the State Secretary of State. Okay.
All right. All comments shall be directed to the town board and be relevant to the topic and will become part of the public record. When called upon, please state your name for the record. Please keep your comments to a 3 minute minimum. Maximum. Thank you. I now open the floor to public comment. Anybody? Okay. Having all heard comments from those wishing to speak on this topic, would someone like to make a motion to close the public hearing?
Make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Second. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right. So be it the public hearing for Town of Webb Local Law Blank of 2023, amending the zoning ordinance of the Town of Webb to allow marina as a conditional use in subdistrict CB-5 be closed. All right. I'd like to welcome everybody to the January 10th, 2023 regular town board meeting. I would like to introduce myself. My name is Kyle Lindsay. I am the Deputy Supervisor, standing in for Supervisor Baker. I'd like to call this meeting to order and ask that everyone stand who is able to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all again for coming. Please sign the attendance sheet if you haven't already. Anyone's phones, please put on silent. I would also like to ask that if you have any questions or comments, to please hold them until we open the floor for a public forum. The next regular meeting will be held on February 14th at 7 p.m. The February audit of claims meetings will be held on the first Monday, February 6th, 2023 at 5 p.m. Executive session may occur this evening if deemed necessary. Nancy, correspondence for the evening?
I don't have it with me. Peg Masters, the historian, has resigned effective December 31st, 2022.
I would personally like to thank myself and on behalf of Supervisor Baker, I would like to thank Peg Masters for her years of service and dedication to the town.
Absolutely.
Many, many years.
Many. And a few good books too that came out of it. Moving on to the next topic for the agenda, the short environmental assessment for 116 Steamboat Landing. The board needs to answer the following questions. Can we just read through the questions? Will the proposed action create a material conflict with an adopted land use plan or zoning regulation?
So are we supposed to do those out loud? Or?
Yeah, just to know.
I answered that no.
Yeah. Just to know.
Will the proposed action, what was that part?
I said, did he do his homework ahead of time?
Will the proposed action result in a change in the use or intensity of use of land?
No.
Okay.
No.
Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of the existing community?
No.
No.
Will the proposed action have an impact on the environmental characteristics that cause the establishment of a critical environmental area?
Is it a critical environment area?
Nancy?
No.
Okay.
I'm looking at it. No. It's a big no.
Will the proposal action result in an adverse change in the existing level of traffic or affect existing infrastructure for mass transit, biking, or walkways?
No.
Will the proposed action cause an increase in the use of energy and it fails to incorporate responsibly available energy conservation or renewable energy opportunities?
No.
Will the proposed action impact existing A, public-private water supplies, and B, public-private wastewater treatment utilities?
No.
Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of important historic, archaeological, architectural, or aesthetic resources?
No.
Will the proposed action result in an adverse change to natural resources? Example, wetlands, water bodies, groundwater, air quality,
No.
etc. Will the proposed action result in an increase in potential for erosion, flooding, or drainage problems? Will the proposed action create a hazard to environmental resources or human health? Now I would need a motion to adopt a negative declaration for 116 Steamboat Landing. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Next, local law number 1 of 2023. The board held a public hearing for to amend the zoning ordinance of Town of Webb to allow marina as a conditional use in sub-district CV-5. What's the pleasure of the board?
Motion to adopt the amended zoning to allow marina as a conditional use.
Okay.
And I would second that.
Okay. Any discussion? Roll call vote, Nancy?
Councilman Gardner?
Aye.
Can Tommy hear anything?
Yes.
Yeah.
Councilman Greco?
Aye.
Councilwoman Green?
Aye.
Councilman Ross?
Aye.
4 ayes.
Next, associations of town, delegate, and alternative. I need a motion to appoint Supervisor Baker as the delegate to the Adirondack Association of Towns for their annual business session to be held on February 22nd, 2023, and to appoint Councilman Ross as the alternative. I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right. Councilman Gardner, do you have anything?
Sure, I got a few things. We went through the training yesterday, Nancy and I, and a few other people that are involved in the grant process for the mountain bike trails. So after doing the training yesterday, we're officially approved to spend the money that we received in 2020. And so we were going to be starting to do the RFPs and getting everything in motion, and so hopefully come springtime we'll have it all bid out and start moving forwards with that project. So that's great news that everything's finally all come together basically. And then Macaulay Mountain, Hollisters were able to actually get up there with the snow the way it is and do the surveys needed to for us to go out and get some pricing on chairlifts. And we'll be starting to work towards a master plan for the mountain coming up here in 2023. So you'll be hearing more about that as things get going. But it was critical for us to get the surveying done. Without the surveys, the chairlift companies are in such demand now since COVID that they used to do 8 to 10 chairlifts a year. Now they're doing 32 chairlifts. They cut it off at this year. And so at this point, they won't even talk with you. They'll talk with you. They're very polite, but they won't proceed with actually creating estimates and development unless you actually have the surveys in place, because then they know that you're serious, that you did it. So we did get it completed, and it's done a lot faster than we expected, but it's great. So we'll be starting to move forward with talking over what needs to be done up there. And the snowmobile crews, I talked to them today. They're out there just clearing brush and waiting for snow. So, playground. There's in your mailboxes that we should discuss. The boat over here was flagged by the state as needing to be replaced, and so we've had some preliminary drawings done of possible things that will still have to get fitted out. But I think that this would represent a good replacement that's approved by the state. So that's all.
You might want to mention there that when you say, it sparks my attention when they say that they've done 30-something chairlifts, you think, oh, we can grab one of the used ones. That's
So in the findings with the chairlifts, if you buy an existing chairlift, which would be older, you have to then bring it all the way up to current standards. And in some research that we were doing, that costs a lot of money. So it's starting to look more like you're just better off buying a brand new one, unfortunately, than moving things around, because we were looking at shifting the current chairlift maybe over to another area, and yeah, it would cost quite a bit of money to get it all outfitted the way they want it to go, it looks like. So, but none of that is official. It's just, that seems to be the early findings, that it's not as easy as that. The current chairlift we have now is 50 years old. The parts are not made for it anymore. Parts that we get for it are stolen off of other ones that we find around, or Whiteface has one there that we've been able to steal some off that they have in the woods. So it's time. So
Yeah.
You know, we need to get something in place so that way we can go after grants and try to get some funding for it.
Anything else?
That's it for me.
Alright. Councilman Greco?
Yeah, I just have a couple things. The Tyler Construction came up and redid the roof repairs on the spots that needed to be fixed, and they also insulated that overhang to help with more of the heat loss. And then I spoke with Alex Ross today. He and Eric Socash buttoned up the overhead fans in the rec center to also help with the heat loss, where they took off the metal screens, the metal vents, and measured them and put up some foam board to try and help with the heat issues there, and they feel really good about it, and giving us the green light to on their end to say give it a try and see what happens with moving forward with opening the rec center up a little bit more. And I'm hoping when Bonnie gets back, we can kind of talk about that and move forward with that. Because I mean, as everybody can tell right now, when the snow is not here, and there's definitely a lack of activity for everyone, and maybe having that space more available and more efficient will help with that. I know the kids around here are pretty bored. They can't ski, they can't snowmobile. So hoping to get that moving forward, and then just to continue to build in the place in general. And then last week we talked, and we recognizing Martin Luther King Day up here, and I feel like that's a pretty big step. And that's pretty much it. That's all I got.
Thank you, Tommy.
Sick.
Nancy's gonna read Barb's,
So this is from
News.
Councilwoman Green. After learning that we had paid nearly $4,000 for disposal of electronic waste such as flat screen TVs, monitors, etc., Mike Ross and I reached out to Bill Rabia of Oneida Herkimer Solid Waste for direction regarding a charge for these items to be disposed of. He said that they can take them there rather than us hiring the company we have hired from Western New York. There is no charge to the town to dispose of them there. However, we will need to transport them periodically, so a small fee will need to be determined at our next audit meeting and work session. Justin Finch, the authority's superintendent of waste collection, manages the electronic waste collection. Justin will reach out to Scott directly to plan for acceptance of any of the town's e-waste. In the same conversation, we asked about the proposed bag program. This program would allow us to charge for labels to be applied to bags for anyone who does not have a sticker or placard for their vehicle. The sticker or placard will be developed along with these labels. The idea is that every resident in town will be provided with two of these for transfer station drop-off of garbage and recycling free of charge. There will be no change to existing garbage and recycling pickup. These bags will offer a third option for people. For example, if a rental unit owner is unable to leave the placard for their renters to use and return, they can purchase labels for their garbage bags so they can drop off trash and recycling at the transfer center on their way out of town. The hope is that by creating a system that provides for Webb residents, we can reduce the amount of waste that is brought in by people from outside our town borders. If you don't have a placard or label for your bags, you can't leave your waste at the transfer station. Language is going to be developed that will incorporate the bag label fee along with a new schedule fee for items we currently charge to dispose of, adding a nominal fee for electronics. The third item we discussed was an initiative that Robin Hill had looked into regarding shredding of documents for local residents. She's been working with Emily Albright, who is the Director of Recycling, and we have set a date for Saturday, May 13th from 10 to 12 at the George T. Hildebrandt Center. The service is free of charge by the Waste Authority, and Confidant will provide the shredding. Living ABK will do the promotion and help to secure some volunteers for traffic control on the day of the event. That's all she has.
Barb, is that all? Councilman Ross?
Yes, thank you. Couple things. I talked to Chuck down at the Trails Department today. He contacted me, and FYI for the board, he is going to get an extended service contract for the engine and emissions for the new groomer. That's typically around $2,400. He does that to all of them. It's for 6 years or 5,000 hours. So and he does that just one time, $2,400. He also asked what about the lights on the covered bridge and that, because he usually takes them down, but does he want us to take them down or not? Yeah, they're clear, they're
White, no, you can leave them up for the winter as
Leave
far as
them
I'm
up?
concerned.
Yeah.
just,
Yeah.
okay. And he did say that it is a little depressing out there seeing what we have. At least we did have snow and we had good riding for a while, but he also mentioned that last year he didn't groom anything, or they didn't groom anything till January 13th. So
Well,
at least we had 1 week of good riding this year so far. Doesn't look like we're gonna get it by the 13th, but. I did talk to Corey also. He called me. He was in town today. I don't know if you guys knew that. I didn't. But
He was in-
called me tonight. He brought some of his men down and they went through the plant. I don't know a lot of the details, but they did a lot of looking and checking things out because he would really like to go to bid by February on this project, but he did tell me that the DEC is good with our plans, but the EFC is really backed up, so he's a little nervous on how quickly that's gonna go. So we'll see how that works out. And just another real quick little tidbit, which really isn't a town board issue at the moment, but could be a zoning kind of thing, maybe Andy, you could comment on that, is Inlet had a fireman meeting seminar on lithium batteries. And I guess they're kind of a bad thing as far as fires. So,
Very bad.
solar panels, things like that, these people have these batteries that are collected in sheds and that, they're, don't know where I'm going with it, but it was a big topic that I guess if you spray water on it, it's not good.
Once they catch fire, you can't stop it.
There,
That's why they'll take a plane out of the air if a battery catches in a suitcase. They'll sink a
Right.
ship. They have all sorts of problems, so they're studying them. They haven't come up with any answers
they
yet.
had some videos on it, they took one of the little batteries, like a AA, and took it apart, and there's the sheet of whatever that's in there, the lithium or whatever, and sprayed water on it. So anyways, just an FYI. Thanks, Kyle. I'm done.
Nancy, do you have anything?
I do. So I need a couple nods. CAA is going to hold fireworks up at Macaulay Mountain on the 11th of February. We have the insurance in place, everything we need, as long as you guys are okay with it. All okay?
Yep.
Obviously it's dark. Then the town of Inlet is requesting to use our band shell on June 10th for Black Fly Challenge. They do provide insurance and they do arrange for transportation. On Friday, June 9th, they'll take it and they will return it. That's a nod also.
Yep.
And then they also asked to use the band shell for the festival, which is September 16th and 17th. Same thing, we have the insurance, they move it. We'll take it on the 15th and return it on probably the 18th. Nod, yeah?
Yep.
That's all I have. Those
What
two
was that
things.
first date that they were gonna
The first
use?
date?
Black Fly?
Black Fly is June 10th. And then the festival is the September 16th and 17th. And
Anything else?
that's all I have.
All right. The town attorney's not here tonight. So now I'd like to open the floor to public comment. If anyone has any questions, comments, concerns, yes.
Hi, Mike Lennon, I cottages in Eagle Bay Park.
Okay.
Back in April, I bought 4 properties from the Hitchcock Estates. It was all or nothing, I didn't have a choice. I came and talked to the town in April and May. What can I do to please you? You know, what do you need done? I got empty lots, I got houses to repair. And the big thing was create buildings that can house employees, workers. Fine. We rebuilt the one there by the souvenir shop on the corner. Went to Robin Hill over a month ago. She came up with a couple people, a couple groups, and it was great. And I've talked to the planning or the planning office about the grocery store. You know, that's kind of our next. What do we do with this grocery store? And the grocery store has a building off the back of it, over the property line, on the railroad track bed. Now again, that's something that I've been told by planning and talked to Bonnie about it. No problem, get an updated survey and a letter, send it to the attorney will take care of it. Okay? Thousands of dollars on surveys for all those properties. So, this was the beginning of December. I talked to Bonnie, no problem. I went and got another surveyor done. He's putting it all together. I said, well, I'll wait till after the first of the year. This is kind of the holiday season. And I get an email last Friday that the board voted against that. I'm thinking, well, wait a minute. The land under the building, I possess. I've possessed it the building's possessed it for 50, 60 years. So what I'm looking for is like a 5-foot extension to maintain and repair the back of this building. And everyone that I've talked to, yeah, okay, yeah, that sounds fair. And it's been done before. This isn't the first one that's been asked of the town. So now I'm getting it that, oh no, we can't do that. I don't understand why the board can't do that. It's 5 feet. And the land, the railroad walked away from the land and the owners of this building took that land. After that, many decades later, the town took the land for snowmobile trails. I don't think they paid for it. We didn't pay for it. Nobody paid for it. It just happened. And now, you know, I'm spending thousands of dollars to get this thing done and I've just been shot down. It's not going to happen. I just don't understand why it's not going to happen.
So it's 5 feet that you need, just the ground that's just underneath the existing building that's there?
The building's on about 20 feet. So you're looking at like 25 feet. But the 20 feet's already on the property. It's already on the old railroad property.
I think the way it was explained to us, and I could be wrong, that you were looking to purchase that parcel of land,
Right.
like not what's under the building, but like,
20 feet behind it?
I'm not sure what it was,
Yeah.
but there's a water line, there's some infrastructure that's under the ground there in that trail, I believe that we were,
Yeah.
our understanding was.
Yeah, I believe it's on the other side of the land. I'm not sure. I don't know for sure.
So,
No,
So-
and
so
the
the-
building next to me, owned by a board member, has a building on this railroad track property as well. You know, both buildings are over the lines.
yeah, I think it might be a misunderstanding, I mean, I could be wrong, but I
There
think there might
definitely
be
was. I thought
a
you-
misunderstanding. I think
No.
the way it was talked to us was, and again, you weren't here for that conversation, so
Right.
what it was talked about was, and the way we perceived it, I believe, was the whole chunk of land, including the trail. And that's where we were like, well, we can't sell the trail, obviously, if something that is utilized by snowmobiles and everything like that, so.
This is just enough land so we can walk up and down and maintain and upgrade and whatever.
I think that we just have to, I mean, I
don't
can't
even know
speak
if
for
that's
the
an
whole
issue
board, but I
anyways.
think that we should probably.
I don't think it's an issue anyway.
Well, I've been told by several people within the town that it's happened before. And, you know, ask for 5 feet so you can maintain the back of the building. Okay.
Did
But-
it
Were you guys provided with a survey?
Did it ever go to the attorney? Did it
Well,
ever-
no, I was about to bring that
We
stuff
haven't done- we
to
haven't seen it yet.
Okay.
to Bonnie
Hasn't
this
gone
week.
to our attorney yet.
No,
Right,
because,
so-
you know, I was ready to present
I
it.
don't know anything about it. I know what you guys know.
And,
I
and
haven't seen anything.
I got a notice from Bonnie that, oh no, the town turned, or the board turned it down.
Well, I think we just need to have you come down
Fine.
and present what it is, so we see it on paper, exactly what we're talking about.
Okay.
And I think
Right.
that you'll
It
have
needs to go to our
a much
attorney.
better understanding.
Right.
The way we were voting on it was to sell, if we were willing to sell that whole chunk of land behind there, including
no,
the
I-
trail. And
Yeah,
so
that-
that we can't do.
Okay, I understand.
Yeah,
So-
we need to see it.
So I think that there's,
Right.
Neither
Can
was-
I give some surveys tonight?
yeah.
I can take
They're in the
it.
car, you can take a couple, whatever, look at them and understand it. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
You grab them out of the car.
Be careful out in parking lot.
Yeah, I know. Thank you.
Anybody else? Yes.
My name is Jerry Rutherford. I live on Big Moose Lake year-round. Thick or thin ice, I still live there. I'd like to know why the assessor's office is closed and for how long. The tax bills are out. I know people that have questions and who will answer those questions if the assessor's office is closed. I know many people also wanted to pay their bills and they had some questions. So who's returning phone calls? Who's an authority that is able to answer those questions on their tax
The
bills?
tax bill gets paid in a separate,
I understand that.
okay,
I do know that. I paid mine.
okay. All right, well, you said people wanted to pay their bills, so that.
They want to ask a lot of questions about their bills and they don't know who's going to return their phone call so that they can ask the questions.
Have they called and left messages
My understanding is yes,
and no one's returned a call?
that's correct. So who would return those?
Well, we'll have to be the staff.
Thanks, Mark.
Everybody is on a
Thank you.
remote thing right now, working, and for reasons that we actually can't divulge. So,
Okay, so you have no idea when the assessor's office will be open?
not tonight, we don't.
I can go check the machine. I never thought about going checking the machine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We
I
will
can
do
that
get
tomorrow.
someone to return calls.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I guess that's
I can
it.
screen the calls, it's not a big deal. There is a notice on the door to call here.
Yes, I understand that.
On the
I saw
phone.
that.
Yeah, I don't know what the message is on the phone.
Right, I saw
will
that.
look into that.
Okay, so you really don't know when it's gonna open?
Correct. At this point in time, we don't have any.
And how will we find out when it's going to open?
Nancy?
I guess the best thing to do, you'd have to call, I don't have an answer, I don't have an answer to that. I
Okay,
can't answer that, I don't know.
so just need to call to see if somebody knows. Call and ask you, call and ask Bonnie?
Yeah, you're more than welcome to,
Okay,
okay?
Thank you.
Unfortunately, I don't have an answer other than that.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody else? Steve?
Steve Hoppel. 2 months ago, or in November, I had asked about the project behind the health center. And Tommy finally picked up on what I was saying about, they were inquiring about what the housing was going to be, who it was going to be for, and stuff like that. And I really wasn't necessarily leaning towards the short-term rental aspect of it. I was more of, if it was going to be, could be turned into affordable housing or something like that if they couldn't fill the units. But what I wanted to comment on was, when somebody said something about the short-term rental, that they didn't want to see it turned into short-term rental because of snowmobiles going in and out and stuff like that. Well, there's going to be doctors or nurses or policemen or school teachers. They're going to do those activities, so there's going to be snowmobiles and motorcycles and stuff going in and out of the property. You know, I would think. I mean, they're probably not going to be all monks. You know, so if that is a concern about those vehicles going across, you know, it probably will happen. You know, so I just wanted to throw that out there. Also, last month, Paul Moran brought up regarding the North Street project. And I have to apologize because I didn't go to any of those meetings and stuff like that. So if the board could sort of like give me a brief, where it's at, what's going on with that.
Yes,
Anybody wanna comment?
the People First will be giving us a public presentation sometime this month. We do not have a date yet, but it will be their presentation. It's not a board presentation, so we're waiting for that also.
Okay.
This month or next month?
They said January,
You said January.
but, you know, we'll see. That's beyond our control when they do it.
So, and in that presentation, will they have what the housing's going to be and like rent fees and who's going to be available to rent them and things like that?
I can't answer that. I don't know what
Okay.
their
Okay, because I'm just, one of the things I'm inquiring about, I don't know if you guys, I'm sure you pick up the local paper in the last almost month, there's been an ad in the back of the paper for a project somewhere where there's 30 units, you know, $600 to $800, you know, within wage brackets and stuff like that, with assisted paying, and, you know, just inquiring if this project's going to be something on that.
It will be, there will be parts of there will be some apartments that are going to be according to income level. There will be some that are full pay. That much I do know, but their presentation will give all of us a much clearer picture of what they're proposing.
They have stated in previous meetings here, when they did the previous, presentation on their end, I think it was 40%, 30% and under means, and then 40%, 80, the other 40% of the units would be 80% and under the income means, and then 20% would be full rate, potentially full rate, is what they presented. So don't quote me on that, but I think that's the way I remember him saying it.
And then as far as the project, the infrastructure of the whole thing, who's going to be responsible for that, for water lines, sewer lines, roads?
They will be for their own costs. We're going to bring it to the roadside. They're responsible for anything, just like any property owner, from the roadside in. They're responsible for all their stuff, the maintenance of it, all of it.
Okay.
It's private property.
And there's been scuttlebutt that they're asking for some kind of tax breaks on this?
They're not asking for tax breaks, they would require a pilot, which is very common for any, development to do something like that. So there will be some kind of payment in lieu of taxes that will be established at the rate of the existing property value prior to the bill, and then that goes up in increments each year over a period of, I believe, 30 years.
Have to read from those, give me just a second. With that in mind, well, one thing first, Cap 21, they have a program going right now that if you own a house and you put it that you are going to keep it as a long-term rental house and it's not short-term, they will give you a tax break.
There's no tax, it's
Well,
not a
let
tax
me
break.
rephrase that. They will give you a stipend for doing it.
Right, it's not just on existing houses, they also did it for, say if you're a young family or whoever that's looking to buy a house for the first time or whatever, and they need additional money towards the down payment in order to qualify for it, that they could deed restrict it through their program and receive this money, and it would be, I'm not sure if they worked it out with the banks, if it was proven that way, but that was their hopes, was that they could also help younger families and stuff like that be able to get into their homes up here on a year-round basis.
Now, with that kind of concept going in that trend, has the town thought about, say somebody has a short-term rental house that they're using a short-term rental, to give them some kind of incentive tax break that say, hey, if you're willing to rent this house on long-term, we'll give you a tax break?
No,
And-
we haven't
and
done
Not
instead
so.
an
of-
idea, but no, right. This, and what you said it, that is Cap 21 Living 80K, that's their program. So
Correct.
we're not involved in any of that.
Correct, but what I'm saying is, the purpose of the North Street project is to generate housing stock. So instead of giving a company from out of town, building something new, 30-year incentive, why can't you offer that to people that are in the properties? I mean, I got houses down the street that I've been working on for years. That would give me a hell of an incentive to finish them babies up. There'd be 3 apartments right there.
Well, don't hold your breath, because we're not looking at it right now, and even if we did, it would take, it would take 2 or 3 years to get it through all of the process.
Okay.
So,
And on the project out at North Street, if which development goes through, old saying, for every action is a reaction. And if you think things through, you have the project that Mike Mr. built over here, that they're paying full scale for the price and all the utilities. What's going to happen to that project? Because let's face it, if people can move over to North Street and get a house for $300 or a month cheaper, is that going to wind up sitting empty?
yeah, the survey, the needs study, what's the term I'm trying to find here?
Market study.
Market study, thank you, Tom. That was just done, and that will also be part of their presentation. It shows a tremendous number for the area, not just the town of Webb, not just Old Forge, but for our area, for the need for housing. So it justifies what they are doing. So I don't think that it's going to impact that negatively at all, to be honest. Or any other rental. They're full. They're all full.
And one of the things with the years of the short-term rental law and finally getting voted in and people talking with people and stuff like that, is I have found that being a small community, a lot of people have a lot of opinions, but they're afraid to speak it. And I'm one of these guys that I shoot my mouth off. And with that said, the North Street project, you were saying that they're looking for tax credits that's going to extend over 30 years, which is going to be a burden on me as a taxpayer because I'm going to be picking up the trash bill, the fire bill, and et cetera. So with that in mind, the decision should be that the taxpayers of our community, the voters, and it should not be left up to 5 people on the board, it should go to a public referendum.
It's
Too
not
late.
our development. So what is there to,
You're talking about specifically the tax, the pilot program.
If you're willing to give those people free money tax money free, exemptions, it's my tax money. So it is a town board thing because you're giving my tax dollars away. You're making me responsible to pay the bill for their project.
Okay.
And that should be up to the voters, not just 5 people.
I guess it would be up to New York state law and the attorneys how that works, so, to do a referendum, we can look into it.
And I think that there's, again, don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure that if I remember hearing this correctly, there's two ways of going about the pilot program, the county and also locally. So, again, we're waiting for them to come and actually put out. I have not spoken to anybody since the last time they were here, and hadn't spoken to them since the last time they were here before, so, you know, this presentation that's gonna be happening is, we're all gonna be learning a lot of stuff. I mean, there's just really, I mean, they haven't told everything other than the possibility of different things, and they've heard from us of what, you know, physically can't happen and what can happen possibly, so, you know, but there's a lot of information that we all need to hear before we can really
And like I
answer
said, because
anything, so.
like I learned from the short-term rental stuff, a lot of people have a lot of stuff to say, but they're all sort of afraid to say it. You know, and with a public vote on something like that, that's how people can voice their opinion and not be crucified for it. You know, I mean, I always use my 2 son-in-laws as a perfect example. They both work in construction, they work on short-term rental people's properties, so even if they have a negative opinion of them, they can't shoot their mouth off because they'll be out of work.
Will that presentation be open to the public?
Oh yeah, it's for the public.
Okay, you're gonna advertise it,
Yeah, as soon as we know when
As
they're,
soon as we know
so it'll
when.
be in the paper?
Yes.
yeah, it'll be everywhere.
We'll get it out everywhere we can.
Okay,
That's the
Yeah.
plan.
Lily,
Thank you.
we're just giving them the space to
It's their
present to the
meeting.
public
okay,
what their intentions are.
thank you.
So for Lily, just giving them the room, more or less.
Okay. Next. Do you have the question?
Deborah McCoy, I live in Big Moose. I haven't lived here real long, and so if I'm asking a question that everybody else knows the answer to, please forgive me. But have we received any COVID funds in the last 3 years?
COVID funds?
You know, the federal government gives
Yes.
money
Yeah,
to
we
the...
submitted, I can't remember what it was, how much we submitted for, but yeah, we
You
submitted to the
submitted,
program.
did you get it?
Yes.
Okay. What did you do with it?
Some of it was applied during Supervisor Bergstresser's term to, Nancy, was it water, sewer?
Yeah, but and the money we spent on COVID, we got recovered.
Right, we got reimbursed for
We
funds
got
that we
reimbursed for
had to
funds we
spend.
spent.
And then there was a list of areas that designated by the state of where that money could be allocated to, and I believe it was to the water or sewer district or
Yeah,
something like that.
Some of it was, yeah.
That went back into
It's-
the infrastructure.
Infrastructure for the water and sewer, which we're using for Steamboat.
And there was quite a few expenses involved in all
And we
that
had a lot of
mess.
expenses, but it's gonna be used over in Steamboat Landing.
Oh, that's what, yeah.
Some of it's gonna be over
I
there.
think you're right.
For the pump
The pump,
station.
the pump
Okay, so
station.
some of it has been set aside
Into
for us
infrastructure.
specifically.
Correct,
for-
yes.
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, it couldn't go back in the general funds, it had to go to, there was a specific list with reimbursement, and then it had to go to, like, we had categories we could check it off. And that's what fitted the need for it at the time.
Anybody else? Yes.
Yeah, sir. You could just share that one.
Sure.
Nancy can copy.
Yeah.
Well, but you can see this is the highway, this is the building, right here. So it's close to the highway, but this line is the current owner's line, and this line here would be the back of the building plus 5 feet. So, you know, and this is the property next to us, Tom's property. But this would, you know, so basically we're looking at 5 feet, 5 feet, 8.5 feet up the back of the building.
Do you mind if I just go over there for a second, just want to make sure I see this right? So you can see that far.
That's it.
You're talking about this right here, right?
This is the building. There's that front door, goes down to here,
Okay,
and then around the back.
yep. And which piece of land are you looking to
Okay, so from this line to the back of the building, it's already under the building.
Okay.
And then we're looking at 5 feet, 5 feet, 8.5 feet, 5 feet. You know, just extending it to, so it would leave this all open in the back.
So it doesn't have to be road at all?
The gravel road is 16 feet. Right here. Gravel road 16 feet. The shortest is 20.
But this
and the
5
pier is
feet beyond it
25.
doesn't go over the gravel road at all?
No.
Okay, that's just what I'm
Nancy just stated that we really should probably have some of
You
this
can have something
in
in
writing.
writing.
So that we.
Yes, well, again, I got blindsided on Friday. from Bonnie.
That's the important thing in writing, so we can share it with our attorney.
I don't know if this makes it right or wrong or whatever, but I mean, that building has been, all this has been like this for many, many, many,
50,
many
60
years. So I don't know where to go with it, but I don't.
Okay.
Thank you.
No, thank you very much, appreciate it.
Linda Wheel, board, and I just wanna remind everybody that the town board meetings are on YouTube, and it was at the last town board meeting, the December town board meeting, and you can view the conversation that they had regarding, and get yourself a little bit more informed, but that's a nice tool for everyone to remember, just throwing it out there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Big plug for the YouTube.
Anybody else? I'd like to move on to the payment of audited claims. Can I have a motion to pay the audited claims?
I'll make a motion.
A second?
Second.
William? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting.
So moved.
I'll second it.
All in favor? All opposed? All right, this meeting's now closed. I want to thank everyone again for coming out tonight. And please remember to sign in if you haven't already. Thank you.